It's wintertime, and this is the time that I like to pull out my favorite Parisian accessories because they keep me warm and they give me a little bit of style and they help remind me of my wonderful trip to Paris. So as we move on to day 2 of my travels, as a correction for the video that I talked about last week, our first arrival and night and where we decided to stay in Paris, I wanted to tell you we actually only did 3 nights in Paris. So very quick, but we saw a lot while we did it. And so if you want to go visit that video, feel free to do that. I gave you some travel tips there. And the rest of the trip was spent in Nice. So if you are smarter than me, you'll probably take a little bit more time, see a little bit more in Paris, like 5 nights, a week, because there's so much to see. Now, day 2 was our first full day, and I woke up in the morning just singing about being in Paris because I looked out the window of my little boutique hotel, and it was just the quintessential backdrop for my first day in Paris. I love Paris in the morning. We planned to go down to the Café La Flore, one of the most famous eateries in Paris, and got a seat pretty quickly. I don't know if that was because it was a weekday, I don't know, but it wasn't difficult to get there. And of course I had dressed warm, knowing that we were going to do a lot of walking and getting to see the city that day. We sat down, my husband immediately ordered a French onion soup, and I still regret not getting that because he is raving about it to this day. We had a chocolat, I had a little salmon sandwich and an omelet, and it was just the white glove experience that you really associate with Parisian dining. So that was really fun. Then we walked in around the neighborhood. I did some window shopping because every single window in that area had beautiful couture-like clothing and furniture that was just fabulous to look at. And we headed down to where the bateau buses are. Now, the bateau buses are boats that travel up and down the Seine and get you close to some of the really great sites. And it costs about $20 to $25 a day per person to just ride along it as many times as you want. And it goes quite slowly. It gives you the ability to take wonderful pictures. We went straight to Notre Dame, and there was lots of art around the outside, and they are upgrading it. So we knew we weren't going to be able to get in. And I hear that that upgrade is at its finishing point soon. So maybe you'll be able to get into Notre Dame. We also walked around that neighborhood, did some shopping, did some people watching. Chocolatiers were everywhere, and stores and pieces of art as we turned the corner, like the Michael Archangel statue. That was really beautiful. As the day progressed, I realized I was running out of time. There was only so much I could see. So we jumped back on the bateau bus and my husband took a nap while I traveled past the Louvre and the Museum d'Orsay. And I really had to have a talk with myself because I knew that we weren't going to be able to spend the time needed in the Louvre with the lining up and how busy it is and not really narrowing down what sections of the Louvre I wanted to see. I knew that was going to be a time-consuming portion of the trip. So traveling past the d'Orsay Museum was a good thing because it made me settle on the fact that this was, although a smaller museum, it would be an amazing opportunity to visit it and take my time and enjoy it. And so that's the plan I made for the following day. In the meantime, we boated past the Eiffel Tower really, really close. I got a great picture of that. And we got, again, to see the Louvre, and we decided to go ahead and travel and walk in the area of the Louvre. And so we made our way there. And unfortunately, it started to get late and dark. Oh, such an embarrassing story, but I have to tell you, I could not find a bathroom at one point. Everything was closed down. And little did I know, the little spot that I did find was actually in one of the most famous gardens across from the Louvre, the Maze Garden. Oh, I'm so embarrassed to say that, but we joked about it and laughed about it afterwards. We walked past the Louvre and looked at it all lit up with all the wonderful sights around there, did some more shopping, passed through these alleyways where we would discover stained glass windows and old buildings. It was amazing. A married couple celebrating and taking photographs after their wedding. And I found a restaurant that I wasn't sure I was going to be able to get into that had great reviews. And sure enough, there was one table left and we were there just as they were opening. So we waited outside for about 35 minutes and got that table right next to the chef. Now I have to tell you, this was the kind of food experience that you would pay hundreds of dollars for here in the United States. Watching this amazing chef prepare food with all of the organic ingredients and local ingredients that he used. And we sat and ordered a kheer, which I've never had this fabulous liqueur before. It was like a raspberry kheer liqueur. It was amazing. And we had foie gras, which is very rich, and these delicate little homemade raviolis. They were amazing. The dishes we chose were a famous steak and fried dish that is well known around Paris, something you have to try. And I tried a fish dish and we shared. It was an amazing meal, top notch. Again, I was shocked to note that our check when it came was just around $100 for both of us. So really inexpensive if you want to eat well. And then we taxied home in one of those great little vintage taxis that we rode around town on the first night, which was a great finish to a wonderful day and allowed us to get a good night's sleep because the next day we had to power through our final full day in Paris. So there's so much more to share, and I continue to be excited about sharing this trip with you. And I also want to tell you that I'm going to show you some tips and tricks on how to plan your own fabulous Parisian trip. So follow, subscribe, and we'll talk about how you can do this all on your own and customizing the trip to meet exactly your needs and see exactly what makes you excited about your trips. Talk to you soon. Oh,